Friends, Romans, if you identify as a Roman, countrymen, this is a 912 with a hot start problem. What is a hot start problem? A hot start problem is usually something that doesn't happen when the engine is first started, but happens subsequent after warm-up. It doesn't even have to be fully warm sometimes. Sometimes a hot start problem happens just shortly after having run. When it gets really, really hot, it can be fuel. Oftentimes, it is fuel. In fact, I would say in carbureted vehicles, it's about a 70% chance that it's fuel. Statistically speaking, most statistics are made up, so keep that in mind. Now, this one, it's definitely fuel. If you run it for long enough, it gets fuel boil. Why does this get fuel boil? It's got Weber carburetors on what should be Solex manifolds. And it has adapters. Are those Solex manifolds? Yes, it has Weber carburetors on Solex manifolds. And it has adapter plates between the Solex manifolds and the Weber carburetor bottoms, all of which are metal and all of which are thermally transferring the heat from the cylinder head on up into the carburetors. It's a common issue with this setup that it just takes too much heat into the manifolds, bakes the carbs, and then you get fuel boil or a stuck needle as a result of pressure in the float bowl and yada yada and all kinds of things, and the stuffy stuffs and the what have yous. So what we're going to do is we're going to put thermal insulators below the Weber carburetors. We're going to bolt on actual Weber manifolds for a 912 engine for the 616 head, and it should be happy. It should be bella. It should be beautiful. It should be outstanding. It should be extemporaneous. That's not the right usage of that word. Then we're going to do spark. This is going to get a makeover on its distributor. It's going to get a makeover on its coil. It's going to get a makeover on its plug wires. And then we're going to tune it up. So I just figured I would show you some 912 action today. Not much to this, honestly. We're just going to take some carburetors off. One of the wonderful things about Porsches of this generation is that they provided a little space in the engine bay for you to put things down. It's not so wonderful if you forget, but all down in here you can rest things and you can lay your parts side specifically and all that stuff. I'm going to grab some towels so that I can put them in the carburetors and then subsequently down lower when I get the carburetors off of there before pulling these air cleaners up and out of here because, you know, just want to be safe. Okay, so those are all shoved up now. Let's see, the original fasteners for these would have been 12 millimeters, but oftentimes people change them out to 13s, and they are, in fact, changed over to 13. So, no big deal on that. Just gonna wrestle with these for half a second. This is always the hardest button to button, this one inside here, and the one in the back there. But you can get at them if you're clever enough with a wrench. Turning the wrench upside down works. I guess there's no upside down, but turning the wrench like this works, where the angle is, you can see that, angle like that, as opposed to the upward angle, downward angle. Angle of the dangle. There's one at the back there, and there's one at the back there. Got to crawl around for those, but I'm also thinking maybe now is time to cut the fuel. So I'm gonna put a clamp here on the fuel hose. It's still gonna leak out some fuel, but put a clamp on the fuel hose and then go ahead and take the fuel hoses off the carburetors themselves. I'm gonna be crawling all the way into this engine bay in a moment. Very excited about it. How's your day going? Okie dokie. Now I'm going to be shooting myself all the way in here, and we'll see. We'll see if this engine eats me alive. That's really not that bad. Probably one of my more favorite engine bays to work in, honestly. Oh, shucks. I lost the washer on that one, which means that I will have to get a magnet and seek it out. Gonna set this off to the side. Its day will come. All right, we've got 4 Allen head bolts holding that manifold adapter in. So I'm gonna grab an Allen key and take those off. That's really stuck on there, come on. Okay. Get them broken free and we can switch back over to the ratchet. Okay, so now the manifold adapter is removable. Bada boom, bada pow. This is the manifold adapter.
Yes, if you have Solexes on your car and you'd like to run Webers, then you can use my glasses. Yes. It looks like a 912 engine to me.
I know I really missed my calling. Should have been an actor. Discardo that. And then we've got a couple of bolts down here for the actual manifold. And then the manifold will be removed. But before I remove this manifold, I'm going to go ahead and attack this other side, because I'm also going to be pulling the plug wires off and a whole bunch of other things. So I'm just going to plug that up for now. Is there another one of those around here? Wah, wah. Out of towels. Back in stock. All right. Plug that guy up. Stay plugged. Pull the plug wires off of here, because they're kind of in the way anyway. Get out of here. Don't want none of you. What's with this? That's ridiculous. Someone put a plastic hold down thing in there. Man, people ought to be ashamed of themselves. Some of the stuff they do. Weird little plastic hold down clip thing. People ought to be ashamed of themselves. All this is coming off here anyway. This doesn't need to be on there for now because we're removing the coil anyway. That one doesn't need to be on there. Just get those tucked out of the way. This can come off of here. Before I put the carbs back on, I'm going to go ahead and anchor down the fuel hoses and everything back there. So we should have a good solid fuel rail hose situation when it's all said and done, and none of this floppy zip tie garbage that's going on. Discard these out of the way. Over on this side, it's the same thing, just kind of a rinse and repeat situation. Now there's this big tube in the way, but there is another bolt up in there, and you don't even have to remove the big tube to get at it. It's totally get-at-able from over here without having to do that. So go ahead and remove the fuel hose on this side. They have screw clamps on here with the flathead, so I'm using my little stubby flathead. Able to remove those and slide them off of there maybe. And that's just gonna dribble everywhere because there's a zip tie there that's annoying. Well, it's what it is. Okay, Syrah. Almost there. One more bolt. One on the back. Pain in the back side. Gonna get after that. Can do that. Limited swing room. Something's better than nothing, I guess. Nope, there's nothing there. Nothing's better than nothing. Nothing from nothing, there's nothing. Well, on this one, maybe we just cry.
I'm probably gonna have to go and get my bent 13 millimeter. Get bent.
I'm gonna go get my bent 13 millimeter. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So here is just a straight classic 12-point wrench, box end style. Here is a double box end. One side of this is 11, but the other side is 13, and it is a bent wrench. Little smiley face. Or a mustache.
Yes, it's a 912 engine, you see.
Okay. Enough with Mr. Stuffy. 13 millimeter wrench also has a bend in it, right? So these afford you better anglage of things. Ow. Yep. Oh, that one worked. So the bent wrench for the win. Got the nut. Try and get the washer. Now, you always try and get these washers off of the carburetor bases before lifting the carburetor up, because a lot of times they will slide down the manifold and then you're stuck fishing around inside an engine, and that's no fun. Get this out of the way. May leak some fuel, but that's okay. And there we go. Carburetor number 2. And now the adapter plates come off. God-forsaken things that they are. Should never be used. Always just use the correct manifolds. Don't try this, this adapter garbage. But people did this back in the day. And don't get me wrong, I mean, it worked. It was a nice little, what the heck we gonna do, man? We gotta do something. We want a bigger carb on this engine. It's not running fast enough. If I put a bigger carburetor on there, it's just gonna go zip, 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 boom, boom. And so, you know, when you've got that kind of mentality, just do what's necessary to go zip, 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 da boom. I believe that was the quote. Do ba do ba do 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 do. Ba-da-da. It's a rainy one today. Kind of has like a Portland vibe outside. So working on an Aga Blue 912 this is the prime move. This car suits this weather. This feels like a Seattle car in color. Portland, Seattle are all the same. Yell at me later. All got great coffee, good beer, beautiful natural lands. See, now you don't want to yell at me. Except for the people in Seattle are like, Portland's awful, and the people in Portland are like, Seattle sucks. Why can't we all get along?
Well, you see, the thing about it is...
Oh, I should do this with the wrench, right? Get my monocle and my mustache going.
Yes, now you see, the thing is that in the early days, we used to wrench on these cars with dinosaur bones.
I don't know. Discardo that adapter. Go ahead and put some towelage down in these manifolds so that nothing unexpected finds its way on an exciting journey into the engine. Take our spark plugs out with our uncut zip tie, kill you dead end, single plastic Home Depot bullcrap anchor. Now you know what I really think. These, discard. Now, we've sufficiently broken things down to a point where I could take the manifolds off, which is good because that's what I'm doing. I'm taking the manifolds off. One of the things I've learned over the years is that shortcuts rarely get you there. They get you to a different place, and sometimes it's a cool spot and you've enjoyed your shortcut. Other times, it's just about the same amount of time, if not longer, and there's just no scenic view. So, in this situation, I think the smart move is to take the tried and true path, enjoy the view, meet the people along the way. Shucks, all my lights are going. It's just down to you, Betty. Why is it named Betty? I don't know. Betsy, maybe. Betsy the light? No. Sorry, I apologize to you Bettys and Betsy's that are fans of the channel. This little guy helps me get at tin screws. It's a well-designed little tool. Takes a 10 millimeter on this side, and on that side it sockets over a tin screw. Got a tin screw right here. Boom, tin screw. This sockets right over it, holds it inside, and makes sure that it can't slip off or round out. Great little thing. It's by Fritz Custom Products. FCP, but not the FCP that everybody else knows about. And it's that simple. You guys couldn't see that, but it was a thing of beauty. And this tin screw that fought me earlier just gave up to that. It didn't really give up, it cooperated. It was like a symbiotic relationship. It was like, all right, you want me out? You've now cradled me and hugged me and forced me around in a circle. So I'm coming out for you. Yeah, please don't take that out of context. Oh, God. The things we say. But I thought you said. BRB, at this point in the game, I think it's probably time to move my part stash off of the breastplate because I'm going to have to loosen it and possibly even take it off, so. There's the exhaust, and you can see this panel normally pulls up into place. I've just got it slid back and out of the way. And with what light my light can provide before it dies, that'll allow me to get the side plates off down there and be able to get at these intake manifolds. So that's how everything looks right now. And I'm going to grab some lights. I've got these bolts at the back to take off on both sides. And then we'll be further into it. I went ahead, cut all the fasteners free, and removed the side plates. And now, these covers come off. This is what we're trying to get at the whole time, so we could get at the lower manifold bolts. So this spark plug tip is kind of in the way of the nut there that we're trying to get at. So I use this ultra shallow socket, and it can avoid getting that hung up on that spark plug tip, and gets down in there, and we should be able to break this guy free. There we go. And then there's one in back, which is going to be all the way back here. And gotta do a similar thing, but before I do that, I'll collect this nut and get it out of the way. Now the intake manifold is cut free. It's on 2 studs still, but it's gonna pull up and out of here. There you have it. Now I'm gonna put blue towel in this side and then go ahead and tackle the other side. We've got the old manifolds out, the new manifolds are in, and now I've got to put all of that tinware back in place all around the manifolds and the engine in general. I'm going to also reconnoiter the fuel hose and the way that that's run, because I don't like the fuel delivery to these carbs. So I'm gonna do some bending and some anchoring of fuel hoses and lines, and I will then install the phenolic spacers and that kind of stuff. So everything's moving along. Well, it stopped raining outside and everything got real pretty like, so I opened up the door and now we have more light. And while my lights are all on chargers, and I never really did grab adequate lighting for this after a certain point, hey, nobody cares now. I am installing, well, I'm rerouting the fuel hose and fuel lines. What somebody had done with this is they basically just cut the original Solex metal fuel line that would supply everything, and then they just bent it up willy-nilly and didn't anchor it anywhere. It was all flopping around. So I'm gonna anchor it up and give it some function and form and shape and all of that. And just Just want to be sure it's not going to interfere with anything. Probably have to drop the carburetor on there too and just make sure that it's bent correctly and everything. But, you know, that's the general idea. There we go. All right, so I got to give this a little bit of a tweak. Actually, maybe I don't even. I think it's going to be all right. Everything's turning out great on this. I'm really loving it. All right, I've got to throw carburetors back on it. Replace that fuel hose. Gonna get rid of this fuel pump, hand pump bulb syringe. So we'll run a new fuel hose entirely on that. Put together heater tubes and stuff. Got to install a new ignition coil. Yoink this distributor and get in the distributor side of things. But the carb side of things is almost there. We're about done. It's gonna be great. And I'm so proud and happy of how this fuel line and hose situation has come together. Like, it's a marked improvement over what was there, and was just able to do it with what was already in place on the car. Oh, and the big important part, the phenolic spacers are installed, as well as the correct Weber manifolds. So we will be enjoying no hot start struggle, hopefully. This, getting rid of this will probably also help with that. Here are a few finer points of the phenolic spacer install on the 912. On the cylinder 1-2 side, the Weber manifolds that are produced by EMPI come very, very, very close to the engine fan shroud and side cylinder engine tin, the spark plug tin, whatever you want to call that. So I've got a button head Allen that I've installed there, which just clears this phenolic spacer as it goes into place, and it would also just clear the foot of the carburetor. In addition to that, where the linkage is, where the carburetor linkage is mounted, this linkage bracket to the fan shroud, I had to make this a half-height bolt. So I took the original out and replaced it with a bolt that I filed the top down on, just thin enough that the carburetor, when it's inserted down in, now clears that. It does clear this bolt, clears this bolt just fine. This bolt head was really getting in the way. A button head Allen would be another solution to it, but I kind of wanted a more factory appearance, and when the carburetor's in place, if you look there, you'll get the idea that it's a hex head on there. So it won't look super out of place. Now on the cylinder 3-4 side, none of those issues are in effect. So this side is all bolted up. You do have a very close clearance between the cylinder tin screw that holds the side spark plug cover in. But outside of that, I mean, it's a close tolerance, but it all clears. Because of the staggering of cylinders, the cylinder 1-2 being offset from 3-4, that positions that center line, that bolt on the fan shroud on both sides, that positions it in a different spot in relation to where the manifolds sit. So, yeah, we're just going over some stuff, right? This is just, it's stuff. It's nothing big, it's nothing small, it's just kind of like things of consequence to think about if you're going to be doing what I'm doing here on your own car, or just to kind of see how this whole process goes. So, I'm going to throw the carburetor onto this side now that I've got the fuel hose and lines routed in a way that I like, and they're all nice and anchored down. And I'm gonna continue the button up of the carburetor side of things, and then I'll get after the distributor, because we've got to do some distributor work. Well, I started in on the distributor replacement, and everything was going swimmingly. Not true at all. Everything's going terribly, and it was going terribly, because someone had this distributor clocked completely asininely in here. Like, I mean, it just didn't make any sense. The drive gear is out of orientation. Everything's screwed up. So I was like, okay, no big deal. I'm just gonna go check the valves, cycle the engine through the engine cycle, and that will tell me inevitably where cylinder number 1 is, because I can watch the push rods and watch the valves open and close. Well, so you would think, except for someone has over-adjusted the valves, or the valves have become over-adjusted. I don't really care whose fault it is. Point is that all of the valves are tight on this poor little engine. And on top of that, Let me show you some sloppy workmanship. See that right there? That bit of black rubber coming out of that crescent? Right there. Someone completely screwed up the O-ring. They severed it, and a part of it is just hanging down from under the rocker assembly. Ridiculous. Come on, people, we can do better than this. Shameful. This should not be this hard. There's no excuse for work like this. No, none. It's beautiful out though, so there's that. Look at that sky. That's gorgeous. All right. I'm gonna get to fixing these disasters, and then maybe we'll be able to install a distributor. Well, the valve adjustment went relatively smoothly after realizing that everything was over-tensioned. The distributor, the new replacement distributor, is in place, but it's loose right now. I haven't tightened anything down, haven't tightened the clamp. So it's ready to go, ready to be adjusted. Top dead center's marked, which is nice. Carburetors are bolted up and on. I have all new plug wires on. I've installed the factory rubber spark plug wire hold downs versus the weird bastardized zip tie thing that was on there before. So now it's nice and pretty. Got them on both sides, anchored to the fan shroud. Cylinder tin the way that it should be. Now the carburetors are installed to the intake manifolds with a step-down nut. So these nuts are 12 millimeters as opposed to the 13 millimeter ones that were on there. They're still M8 hardware, and that affords you a little bit better clearance for getting back inside and swinging a wrench on these tightly spaced ones that are so close to the fan shroud inside there. The fuel lines have been rearranged. The fuel hoses have been, for the most part, replaced and refreshed where need be. Hose clamps were added where missing. It's a new coil that I painted up blue to match the Bosch color because this coil only comes in black. It's a 1.5 ohm impedance coil, so that's the proper one for the igniter 2 ignition that we have in here. I mean, oh yeah, new fan belt on here. The fan belt was kind of stretched out too. So all in all, it's go time. I've got to dial in the carburetors now. I don't have linkage rods on at all. I haven't dialed in the linkage. I haven't taken a look at any of this. So the next steps for me are going to be to fire it up, rough idle, warm it up, dial in the carburetors, set and sync and adjust, all of the fun, and test drive. It's probably the best part of all of it. Now I'm going to start with just putting the original length and whatever linkage rods on here. Not messing around in any way with that. We're just going to see what we got going on. We can make adjustments from there. But I just need to fire this thing up, warm it up, and get to a point where it's idling and it's happy and all of that. So the goal right now is to baseline and benchmark. I'll probably start with the air cleaners on, but no nuts. So I'm going to pull my little block offs out of here. I just had little rags shoved down in the stacks on there. Grab my air cleaner from off camera. We're going to drop it on over, position it up, but I'm not going to put the wing nut in top because even if it pops or spits or backfires out of this, kind of jars the top a little loose. Doesn't matter because I'm going to be taking this off anyway, putting my sinks down in there to be able to balance and sync the carburetors. Always remember to pull these guys out. It's no fun if you don't. It makes for an interesting time with a lot of flames, typically. We should be in good shape to give it a fire up and see how it behaves. Oh, and yes, I need to get some 12-volt stickers to dress the coil up. Although I painted it the right color, I am currently out of stock of the stickers, and so the coil is just a blank blau. Blank blau. Blank blau coil. It's fun to say. Let me go fire this thing up. Quick am I stupid check. Air cleaners both sides, 4 rag plugs, coil connected, generator connected, distributor in position, not timed. I suppose I could grab my timing light. That wouldn't hurt to have. hanging out in case it fires up with a vengeance. Got my timing light at the ready. I'm gonna stash that inside here for now. That's in case it's not liking where it's at, and I can give it a quick spin of the distributor and check it all over. It's probably gonna need to build some oil pressure, probably gonna need to build some fuel pressure.
Now the smoke you see is probably some oil that spilled onto the heater boxes when I did the valve adjustment, but I'm gonna check because there's quite a bit more smoke than I would be expecting to see out of that wheel well. So we might have a little leak from the valve cover gasket.
It's certainly looking like there's a leak from the valve cover gasket, at least on that side. That's an awful lot more smoke than I was expecting it to make. I'm gonna check this side first, because this might be the success story. Yeah, so this side, it looks like it's just burning off residual oil from the exhaust. And that's what I thought. That's just residual from when I popped the valve cover and it leaked some oil down onto the pipe. This side either got a lot more oil, or, which it did have more that poured out of it, or it's an active leak. Let me see which it is. It's not an active leak. I think it just got saturated in more oil. The J-tubes are kind of rusty, or the heater box exhaust tubes. I guess it's not a J-tube on this particular model. So it must have saturated with more oil. That's okay. Everything else was as expected there, except for that idle that wandered up. Now that could be because the distributor's not locked in place. So I think the thing to do is to grab everything that I need for tune-up and move this outside, because it's gonna burn off more residual oil, and it's also just generally gonna kick exhaust around the shop. So we're pretty close to the end of the day, but I would like to kind of dial this in before heading home. So I think I'm gonna scoot it towards the back of the door, at least baseline the carburetors. Cool. Hey, that wasn't a bad first fire up. It was a little crazy with the hang idle and what have you, and that's one of the things we're hoping to fix with this new distributor. So definitely want to make sure that you know, those advance weights don't swing out and go crazy. But I don't think that was the issue. I think the distributor is literally that loose in its holder that it's turning itself. It's actually advancing itself as it's running around in town there inside the cab. So definitely sounds a lot smoother than when I last fired it up. And so I'm happy about that, because man, those valves were just over adjusted. Bad news. So we're in good shape here. I have a weight on the throttle, the actual physical accelerator pedal, and you can see that we are at wide open throttle. Whoat. And this side is the exact same situation over here. So although there is this tube in the way of it, you can see that it is at wide open throttle there. So that's at least good. Someone started us off on a somewhat okay starting point for this. It's nice that we have wide open throttle, and I'll be able to just focus on the baseline of things and the synchronization, and don't have to focus on the back push-pull throttle position and acceleration and all that.
Now I need to pop the linkage rods free from both sides, grab a small screwdriver and my synchrometer and get ready to baseline everything. I'm just gonna let it kind of warm up and idle for a bit. We'll see. Okay, everything's seeming okay so far. Carburetors were way over cranked. They were almost going into their second level. So that wouldn't have been good at all, which is why we were having that surge and idle. Timing is pretty decent right now. I've got to set lean best idle next and make sure that I've synced the carburetors as well. So I'm going to check sync on them now that I've lowered down the idle, and we're bringing it all back up from there. Okay, I've synchronized both sides. And now we've got a super low idle of 800. Normally you set these for about 900, 850 to 900, but usually about 900. So I don't mind 800, but this is not where we're gonna arrive at the end. I now wanna adjust lean best idle. Now that it's a low idle, I'll be able to hear when the fuel cuts out when I'm adjusting lean best idle. So to do that, I'm gonna turn the fuel mixture screws in on all 4 carburetors. And but one at a time. I'm listening for the throats to fall out, and I can also check on my tachometer, my digital tachometer, and see when I've affected the idle. And I want to then back things out. When it starts to drop off, I'm cutting the fuel out of it. So then I'm going to back it off until I get my highest idle, but at the leanest point. It basically, there's a window of opportunity where it either chokes out and dies, or it becomes so strong and then so rich. So I want to set it to the best possible point, the point at which it picks up in idle and is really nice and strong, but isn't overly rich. So I drive it all the way in, lean it out, and then come back out until I touch that high spot. You should be able to hear it as I'm doing this, but I have no idea how well this all records into the mic. So we're gonna find out later. Tell you what. Then I'll resync everything. Our timing is still A-okay. I've got a shorty screwdriver for this, so. Now there was just an uplift in idle there. I don't know if you all could hear that, but it uplifted as I turned the screw in, meaning that it was already too fat. I'm picking up the idle quite a bit. We're still on the upswing. We're almost at a 900 idle now. We are at 900. It was running quite a bit too rich. I still haven't gotten fall off on this cylinder. Ah, there was the fall off. You hear it? Goes right back down. Okay, I'm gonna back it off until we're at the riding the high, the point. We wanna ride that high. There, it's come back in, the cylinder's come back in, but we're not at the high point yet. Keep backing it off here. Keep backing it off. Come on, baby. There's a 900 idle roughly. Oh, we're picking up more. That sounds really good. That's even better. Can't get any better than that. Just started to go the opposite way. I'm gonna ditch the screwdriver. I can make smaller incremental turns by finger. Right there. You hear the strength on that? That's perfect. We just crawled all the way up to 950 RPM just by cutting fuel out of one barrel. One barrel. I'm gonna have to down-tune the carbs next. All right, next barrel. We're already picking up RPM. Like crazy too. Whoop, lean pop. It doesn't want to be that lean. Now we can come back out. Lean pops come out the carb. So now it's starving for fuel. I'm gonna add fuel back into this one. It's loving that. It's loving that. It's starting to fall off. I think we're up. No, I'm backing it out. I'm adding more fuel right now. There's the bell curve. It's starting to fall back down. I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna lean it. And I mean, I'm talking not even 1/8 of a turn. I'm leaning it so little. Like these are 1/16ths or 30 seconds or whispers of a turn. It really is strong right there. Okay, so here's the thing. I'm obnoxious about this. I love to just get in there and dial these in. I love this. Anyway, I'm a fiend. I'm a fiend for tuning carbs. Because see how nice it is? And that's only 1/2 the engine. We're at 1007. 1000, well, it'd be 70. We're at 1070. It reads 107 on my abridged tachometer. But look at this. We went from 830 to this. 107. Oh my gosh. Just in fuel. I gotta check sync on it again now. Our sync is still good. Unbelievable. This thing was totally misadjusted. Everything about this engine was screwed up. Our timing is still good. It just needed the carbs to be loved. All right, I'm doing this side now. I'm gonna grab a little different light though. Now, in case you were wondering, yes, there's a lot of exhaust back here. Yes, it's affecting my mental state, and yes, my clothing is going to smell like fuel for days. I love my job, and I mean that. Okay, that scared me. That little carb backfire, yeah, that one got me. We're gonna back off, we're gonna get lean best. It's too lean now, it's spitting and popping. There we go, we picked up. Where do we wanna be? There's our 1060, there's our 1070 sometimes. There's 1080. 1070 again. 1080. Let's see if it wants more richness. I don't think it does. 1080, 1070, 1060. All right. You can try and get that 1080 to display regularly for me. Micro turns of this screw. Wait a second for it to adjust. There it is, 1090. Oh, I think that's it right there. We got 1090 on the docket. Now let's get after this one. I think we already passed it. Maybe not. Just by leaning it out, we're at 1120, 1140. Can I get 1150? Nope. Maybe. 1150. 1160. Oh man. I feel like an auctioneer. Oh man, 1200. Okay, triggered the distributor. That literally triggered the advance of the distributor. And so now, the mechanical advance has been triggered. Now I literally have to back down the sync on the carburetors. Now we're at a 900 idle, but we do have some lean poppage. I wasn't done tuning this one, so I want to see where we're at. Yep, that's taking us down. That's falling off. I'm back it out a little bit. We're gonna try and see where our idle comes to now at the high end. That was it right there. We're there. She's seeming really good. It's seeming very happy. I don't have any spitting or popping right now. We are only at, we're a little bit at a high idle. We're at 9 30. I'd like to see a 900 or a sub 900. So I'm going to continue to balance the carbs a little bit and adjust the timing so that we're rocking a 900 idle. And then we'll get into balance and syncing. But I think I'll probably balance and sync the carbs tomorrow just because it's getting so dark and I don't want to have to do everything by trouble light. So some things by trouble light are okay, but having to do too much and being able to see my synchrometer and all that, that's important. So, but yeah, I'm going to dial it the rest of the way. I gave a quick look-see at the tack on the dash to see where it's at. It's at about 1,000. So that definitely supports my theory of bringing it down a little bit. I'd like to see it just sub 1,000. It's almost an 850 idle. I don't mind an 850 idle. That's an 850 idle right there. But actually, I think we're already there. I think an 850 idle is what we want right now. I've got to balance and sync these tomorrow. For now, it's bedtime for this Aga Blue 912. It can dream dreams of going down the road. It can enjoy its newfound smooth idle and its proper fueling mixture. All around, it can be happy. I am so happy. This is going to be an absolute joy to drive when it's all fun. When it's all fun. It's all fun. This is going to be a joy to drive when it's all dialed in. I am so happy right now. I'm also Quasimodo. Quasimodo, Porsche expert.
That was a good day's work. There is something so rewarding about tuning carbs. I know everybody's into fuel injection now. I'm with you. I have it on my car. You don't get to listen to the engine the same way though. I mean, you still can, but you look at all the metrics in the O2 sensor, and multiple O2 sensors if you got them. There's something really sweet about just listening to the car and hearing what it has to say. Making it happy. That right there, that was a good tuning session. I'm happy. Augie here is happy. It's what I'm calling the Aga Blue, because I don't know if it has a name. So it's Augie now, right, Augie? Good Porsche. Helps to give them verbal rewards. We're going to test drive this thing after I balance and sync. And something tells me it's going to be a whole different vehicle. And I think the owner is going to be really, really stunned. I'm hoping so anyway. And if they're not, they don't need the car. They don't have to take it. I'll keep it. It's okay. It can live here. Well, such an enjoyable night has led to a beautiful, beautiful day. And it's time to test drive. I've synchronized the carburetors. They actually weren't that far off. So both sides are balanced and synced at about 2,500 RPM. And we're there. It's ready. It's time to test drive this beauty. So I'm gonna take it around. Probably won't be the only test drive I do on it today, if I'm being honest. Such a beautiful day. I think I'll steal away as many chances that I can get. Make sure that it does good at cold start, hot start, all of the starts. I've been running it for a little bit. We'll give it a quick hot start with no gas here and see where it comes out to. That's pretty dang good. I like that. What an absolutely fabulous, beautiful day for a test drive. And you know what? This is an electric sunroof car. I had almost forgot. It's going to provide a lot of wind, so I'll actually keep that closed. But maybe on the way back I'll cruise with it open. But how nice is that? We're going to take to some curves in the road here, and I'm going to have a smile on my face the whole time. I really cannot tell you what an absolute joy it has been to work on this 912. The smile that it put on my face, wrenching on it, dialing in the carburetors, test driving it down the road on such a beautiful day. It's just been an absolute blast. Cars like this, there's a magnetism about, for me anyway. There's something extra special and really just enjoyable about when a vehicle is well designed, elegant, adjustable. It plays ball with you, it doesn't fight you too bad, and you get to that point at the end of it all where it's turned out really, really, really well, and you know that the owner's going to be happy with it. And that just, it makes my soul sing in a way. So yeah, this has been a pleasure. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. It means the world to me. It makes a big difference. At the end of the day, those metrics are make or break for any of us that are trying to do this. Provide some entertainment, some information, some enjoyment in the classic motoring experience via the YouTube and the interweb and yada yada. What a pretty car. What a pretty car. Get in, let's rob a bank.